Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Wednesday, May 28th. So, I thought that today's video we talk more about like yesterday with the fluff and why I think that it's important to bring this to everybody's attention. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, and yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Wednesday, the 28th of May, 2025. So, what are we talking about today? I thought that we'd push over from yesterday. If you didn't see yesterday's video on what I deem as fluff videos, watch it. And it's just basically ones that make it look like it's really easy. But today's video is going to be a carryover, so you probably want to watch yesterday's first if you haven't already. But what are the downfalls of fluff videos? Well, the biggest downfall is your do-it-yourselfers or your young mechanics trying to learn how to do something, and they leave out a lot of what they did to get to that point. And what ends up happening is the do-it-yourselfer gets discouraged because it's not coming easy for them. Your young mechanic is getting discouraged because it's not going easy, is what the video said. That's what I mean by fluff videos. If you show up on a video on YouTube and everybody is like wearing pressed uniforms and nobody's dirty, and the machine is completely no dirt at all on it, go on to the next one and the next one. Because there are a lot of people out there doing what I call fluff videos. And I don't want to make it sound like, they're doing it just for views and subscribers, but I think they're doing it for just views and subscribers. But the one thing I could never figure out, and I still can't to this day, is if you really want to show someone how to do it, why not let them see your mistakes? Why not let them see how hard certain things come off? I mean, it could be anything from a flywheel, trying to pull a flywheel off to replace a stator. Alright, you may have spent 3 hours working on trying to get that flywheel off, but isn't it better to at least say you spent a lot of time and how you went about it? And a lot of times what I see in the comments of those videos, the fluff videos, I see a lot of people say, no, it's not that easy. No, it's not that easy. That's BS. And they're calling them out. You, as a viewer, are looking for easier ways to do it, not how to lessen the quality of the work. It's just simply how to do it. And if you're going to pull a flywheel, you want a flywheel puller, right? And you don't want to take and put an impact wrench on it and just start cranking it down. Because what's going to happen? Well, what's going to happen is that you're going to bend that bolt. Something's going to break. And what's the correct way? You put your flywheel puller on, get her good and snug. We use a breaker bar. We don't use the impact. Get her good and snug, take a hammer, give it a couple whacks on the end of the bolt, and then tighten a little bit more and give it a whack. And what ends up happening is it starts to loosen that. But the part you didn't see was putting the PB blaster on it and letting it sit for a few hours too. Letting it do its job, right? If I'm watching a how-to video, I want to know how they did it. And a lot of times, the YouTube videos that we tend to watch are the ones that we've never done before, whether it be a side-by-side and case in point, I mean, we watched how to replace a stator in a Polaris, but they didn't show us that all this work that they did prior to getting to the point of where they were. And they didn't tell you how hard it was. And I'll tell you, we worked our butts off trying to figure out how to get access to that stator under the flywheel. Eventually we did. Come to find out, the flywheel had blown apart the magnets inside of it. And so I just replaced the flywheel stator pickup. It's all coming right now in the mail. I haven't seen it yet, but we ordered it for one of our customers. But they didn't show in the video how hard it was to get to it. They made it look really, really easy. And we finally went our own way because we couldn't find a good video out there of somebody actually doing a teardown to get at it. They all showed where they were at it and how easy the cover come off, and then, pulling the flywheel, but they don't see you pull. They don't show you actually trying to pull that flywheel, and then showing you the flywheel and the stator and the pickup. I want to know how you tore that down, how you pulled that flywheel. If I'm new, we had the puller. And what tools do I need? See, if I'm going to do a repair video and I'm going to start doing more of them, of how not to, I'm going to explain right off the bat in the beginning of the video. This is what you will need for tools. And as you know, with me and this channel, we don't get paid by anybody or sponsored by anybody. So if I tell you what tools I'm using, I'm not getting paid for it. It's just what works best for us. And on the tool video the other day, the tool time, if I were to start all over again today and I had to get a tool chest and fill it with the tools I needed, I would go with Harbor Freight. Or I would go with Temu. Temu doesn't sell the big chest that I know of. But either one. Because you can get in the cheapest through that route. And it will do everything that you want it to do. My son, if you talk with him, he's all Snap-on. But he's paying buttloads of money. He's probably got more in his battery-operated Snap-on Impact than I do in all the tools that I have. But he uses it every day as a mechanic. So don't we. But we're running DeWalt's. Why are we running DeWalt's 20 volt? Because it works for us. We like it. The drills, the impacts, But that's how I'm going to start doing repair videos. I'm going to lay out the tools that you're going to need before we even start to make sure that you have what you need. And most often, if you're pulling a flywheel, you're going to need a flywheel puller. They can be bought on eBay or Amazon for a little bit of nothing. And then just what you're going to need for sockets. If you went to Harbor Freight and you bought a 3-piece socket set, and that comes with quarter, 3/8, and 1/2 inch, and it comes with mostly you can buy an SAE and a metric. I encourage you to buy one of each. That's going to cover everything for your sockets until you get up to the huge things. But if you're not working on farm tractors, you don't need to worry. I can't think of any place on a small engine that will require 3/4 inch impacts or a 3/4 inch drive stuff. We have 3/4, and I even have inch. Yes, inch in SAE and metric. But we use it for the farm stuff. And if you're going to be doing farm tractors, you're going to have more invested in your tools because you're going to need bigger tools. And as you say, Amos, Doesn't matter how many tools you have, having one more is a plus. But even with all the tools that I have two full chests of tools, and then I have two wire shelves of just tool sets. You know, whether it be uh, snap ring pliers or the oil wrenches that I showed you, or I mean, the list goes on. And I'm always finding something new, like that endoscope. Claude was having an issue the other day, and it was in an exhaust, and he was trying to see if there was an issue there, but he couldn't see up in. And that's the reason I bought that, was so that he could use that and had light so he could see, and we didn't need a 30-foot cord on it, but I plan on using it for ice fishing so that I get my biggest bang of my dollar out of it. But that was bought on Temu for under $40. And everywhere else that I looked, it was like $79.95 and up. And they weren't that great a quality. Where'd I get it? Temu. Where'd I get my oil wrenches and stuff? Temu. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, that this is where I got it. The only thing is when you buy through them, sometimes you're looking at weeks to get it. But finding on eBay now, even when it says U.S. seller, they're selling out of a port, and it could take 2 weeks to get it to you. But the fluff videos end up discouraging a lot of people. And if you sit down and you watch a video before you go try to do that job, and they make it look super easy because they're not showing you the correct way and what the things you're going to run into. Because I try to, in our repair videos, to point out some of the things that we've had in the past of where something didn't work out the way it should have, and the workarounds that we found. And if we can share some of our knowledge for free, I don't charge for anything, then I will. Whether it be business or whether it be repairing something. And I see it where a lot of young mechanics are trying to learn from watching YouTube. And the biggest fear I have is they're being taught the wrong way. If they're approaching everything, it should be easy. I got news for you. There's a reason why I have a set of torches, 2 sets. There's a reason why I have welders. Because something breaks, something has to do a workaround. We have to build the tool to fit the job because there is no tool out there, or it's so expensive that we can't afford it. We ran into it yesterday with a Husqvarna chainsaw, the 455 I think it is. But the father had let the son borrow his chainsaw, and from the looks of it, he got the bar pinched in the tree, and he got spooked. And for whatever reason, the chain brake mechanism in the Husqvarna had put the brakes on, and he had the cover off. You can't get it back on because the chain brake is in the on position. So we watched a few YouTube videos on how to fix that issue, and they were showing us how easy it is. Well, I got news for you. We fought with that. We tried the 7/16 wrench in a vise and then put the cover on it and try to lock it into place. Didn't work. I showed it on YouTube how easily it worked. So what we ended up doing was getting the cover turned enough, and it took 2 of us to put the cover on at an angle, and then the other one pull back and get it into the locking position because you got more leverage with the handle than you do when you're trying to do this in a vise. And we got it. Now the chain and the well, at least the bar is shot. I couldn't even get the chain to ride in the bar, and there was so much grooves and everything in the chain. I figure either one of two things: either the kid is not running bar oil and pinched the chain in the bar in the tree, or it just shot from being used. But I couldn't get the chain to drop into the grooves in the bar. So that person is buying a new chain and a new bar, and I think the son should buy it. Because I've got a son just like that borrows my tools. You know, if he needs something, they all laugh at me for as many tools as I got, but they aren't laughing when they're coming here and borrowing it. But no, if we're teaching the next generation of mechanics the right way to do things, I want them to understand, I want you to understand that most things that you do are not going to be easy. That's what separates the good mechanics from the bad mechanics. The good mechanics find workarounds and of things that work. Okay? The bad mechanics are going to be the ones that take the shortcuts. Whatever it happens to be, whether it's cranking too much on the flywheel with a puller and destroying the puller. They're not that expensive, I guess, but I want to know what you guys think in the comments. You know, do you find yourself discouraged when you watch some of these videos that are out there? You know, I know, Roscoe, you said that you just keep going and going until you find a video that actually shows you what you want to see. But sometimes it's hard. There's so many different people doing videos that it's hard to find one that's going to be honest with you. You know, I mentioned the Australian guy with the farm tractors. You know, he's pretty gruff. He's got a beard. His hands are oil stained and everything else. It's because, in my eyes, he is a real mechanic. Honest to God. He has done it for years and years. He's got a wealth of information, and he doesn't leave out what he's doing. And he will tell you of the problems that he had in the past by doing it other ways, which helps me because we've tried it the other ways and it didn't work out. And he's saying don't try these other ways because they're not going to work out. So he's my go-to if we're working on something new in the shop that we haven't done before that a customer wants. But I'm going to start wrapping this up. Randy, you mentioned chicken mechanic, whatever. There's a lot of them out there, and you have to understand this when you start watching the video. Is one, they're looking at it as a revenue stream. And what do I mean by that? I mean everything that they show in the videos, whether it be an endoscope or what have you, they've got a link below, and they get paid so much for every time you buy it going from that link over. That link in itself has got her number so that she gets credit for it. So that's one way to make a revenue stream. The other is sponsorship. I'm from a different cloth. If somebody is sponsoring me, I'm not going to sit there and tell you guys that they're the best thing out there, you know, and say that their parts, equipment, what have you, are the best ones out there. I'm going to tell you up front that we're being sponsored by Joe Schmo. And they want us to be biased towards their equipment. And the more biased you are the more you say how great their stuff is, the more crap they'll give you for free. And then they also get paid by views through YouTube. Not so much subscribers, but how many views are being seen on a daily basis. You know, you get paid for that. Now, you mentioned that paid membership. That's the next thing that they're doing now. Is like part of the Better Club, per se. And it's just another way to bring in revenue. And a lot of people out there are willing to pay that. And that's fine. But I think that, you know, it's kind of like, I would hope with me that I could never get bought and sold by material things that you're doing for me. If your stuff is a piece of crap, I'm going to say it's a piece of crap. Now, if DeWalt wanted to back our channel as a sponsor, I'm good with that because I love their tools. I don't get paid anything to tell you that I have good luck with their impacts, drills, and all that, the 20-volt systems. So that's fine. But if I'm trying to think of some of the other brands out there, but if another brand approached us that I had tried before and I wasn't that impressed with it, and they wanted to be a sponsor on our show, our channel, and give us all this stuff, I would probably tell them no. Because I don't have that good luck with your equipment. So a lot of things that you're seeing on those videos now are dictated by how much they can get by saying and doing with their sponsors and getting you to buy stuff through their links and their paid memberships. So as long as you come at it that way, because now, as far as I'm concerned, their videos are now entertainment. It's not how-tos. It's more of entertainment. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you take these shows and stuff that are on TV, they have commercials in them. Okay. The commercials are paying for the airtime for the movies or for the show that's on. As long as you understand that they're being paid to do certain things a certain way, that's fine. With our channel, we're not getting paid. I mean, we do get a small amount for the views, mainly my shorts on how to install lawnmower blades. But I'm doing it because, one, I enjoy doing it. Two, I want to be truthful and honest with you about anything that goes on in the shop. And three, I want to show you what works and what doesn't work. Yes, I will show you what doesn't work. And when you watch our videos, you'll see we have fails. And I'm not afraid to show you that we make mistakes. Because we're only human. And you're only human too. If we can save you some of the heartbreak of learning a certain way of doing it, we will. So on that note, put in the comments what you think, and we'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning for the weekday. Alrighty, have a great day, guys.